hopefully later be booked with at least one count of first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. Got a lot of different evidence with a lot of different scenes here, that we'll continue to work through. But of course, we have an arrest, and we have, more tragically, the death of the 6-year-old, which is going to be a big shock to the small community of Harahan. With that, I'll turn it over to Chief Lepre for any questions, and I'll take some questions afterwards, Joe.
Thank you, Sheriff. My name is Ed Lepre. I'm the Harahan Police Chief. This morning I was out of town at a conference, an FBI conference down in Orlando. I got a call from my staff in reference to a missing child. Immediately after learning more information, I reached out to the sheriff and the other chiefs that were with me at the conference. All offered to help. The sheriff and his staff, I can't thank them enough for coming in and working with our guys. Our guys responded. They were doing the right things. We just needed a little extra help, and I appreciate the sheriff for coming in and offering the assistance to develop this case. They were keeping me abreast on the hour. They got me an earlier flight. I just got back in from out of town, but I appreciate everything. The city of Harahan is still safe. It is a safe city. There's no threat to the public right now. There is an arrest. There is a case being worked. The sheriff, as we get more information, and if it's necessary to report, we will. But at this time, I appreciate all the outside agencies that came in, gave assistance to us. We're a small town. We're a safe town, and I just want the citizens to know that my heart and my prayers go out to the family of this child. This is a senseless type incident that happened, but I can assure you that the Harahan Police Department and the Sheriff's Office are there for the family. And we keep them in our prayers, and I thank you all.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Jerry Satanovich, Jefferson Parish Coroner. I want to start off by saying thank you to everybody involved in this case, from the 911 dispatchers to EMS to law enforcement, and last but not least, the people in my office. Cases like this are hard. We're parents, brothers, sisters, so it's very difficult, and it affects everybody. So thanks to all of them, and they're very much appreciated for what they do. The young lady, the decedent, is Bella Fontanella. That's B-E-L-L-A. Last name is Fontenelle, 6-year-old female. The manner of death is homicide. She has multiple injuries, and I'm not going to get into details regarding the injuries because this is still a fluid investigation with a lot of interviews that have yet to happen. So those details will come out. We're not, hiding them. We're just delaying the release of those. Thank you very much.
I'll take any questions if anybody has any.
The sheriff, why was Miss Landon or Miss Lim, why did she go to the hospital?
I'm not going to release that at this point in time. She, as I said, the arrest has just been made on her in the last couple of hours, so we haven't had the opportunity to interview her, although we're going to attempt that. So that's part of the reason that we're not releasing the cause of death of injuries and some of those information. So I'll probably will release that to you at the appropriate time, but right now it's not the appropriate time.
Sheriff, you said the bucket was found in the yard of
It was in the front yard of the biological mother's house.
of the little girl?
Yeah, so we believe the child was killed at the father's house, which happens to be about a block away, and then transported over to the mother's house, and then taken out of a wagon. Actually, is how I was transported.
Is her home on Sedgefield and the father is
The
on?
father is on Donelon, the mother is on Sedgefield. That's correct.
Do you know if the girlfriend had planned anything, or do you have a possible motive?
I don't have any information to be able to share, as that interview has not happened yet.
Or any chance that it could have been accidental, or is that
I
possibility
don't
off
believe.
limits?
No, I think the coroner made it clear. I think the manner of death is certainly a homicide. Yeah.
Was there issues with the girlfriend and the biological mother, and why was the child placed on the mother's front lawn?
I don't know the answers to that yet.
Do you know if the girlfriend lived with the child? And
Yes, the girlfriend lived with the father, the biological father, and I believe they had joint custody. So at both times lived with both parties.
Did the biological mother find the bucket? Was she home at the time? Or
She was home. Harahan Police Department was there with her, but she was home at the time. That's correct.
Was she the one that?
I don't know exactly. I think that bucket was determined by him. I don't know who opened it, to be honest with you.
Can you talk any more about the mental state
No, not yet. I mean, again, this has all happened within the last couple hours, really, she got to our detective bureau while we were here. So, I mean, let my detectives work for a little bit.
Where's the dad?
Dad, again, went through extensive interviews today. I don't know if he's been released yet, but he should be released, fully cooperative from that standpoint. Don't believe he was involved in the murder by any means, but I don't know if he's. When I left the detective bureau, he was still there, but he certainly could have been released by now.
Sheriff, and the
Can you talk about his emotions today?
What's that?
Can you talk about his emotions today, Dad?
Oh, I mean, look, you can imagine. I mean, I'm not going to speak for him, but I mean, both him and the mother are certainly extremely upset, which you would imagine on any person that lost a 6-year-old unexpectedly.
Sheriff, the other child, is she back? Is she with her parents now?
Yes, I mean, she's certainly with the parents. I think she left with the mother, to be honest with you, but I'm not. I know she was with the grandmother and mother today.
Were there only 2 children living in the house? You're aware
I
of?
think the answer is yes, that I'm aware of. Yes, I'm fairly positive.
Do you know where the child went to school?
Yeah, I know y'all know the answer to that question already. The child went to school at St. Matthew's the Apostle. I know the school reached out to their faculty and staff and parents today. So I know that we notified the school so that way they can get the appropriate counselors in place and be able to utilize those things for the other schoolmates that are in place. So I think they're going to close over the next couple days in order to let the family be along with the let the kids be home with their parents, and then they're going to work with the Archdiocese to have counsels in place when the children return back to school.
Sheriff, do we know how long the father had been with Miss Lynn?
Several years. I don't know the exact number, but yeah, several years.
Do we know how long the child had been dead before she was found?
A good while. I must say that. I mean, it looks like the homicide was late last night, and then obviously the child was found 8:20 or so this morning.
Do you know if the child was killed before she was put in the bucket?
I would imagine the answer is yes, but I'll let my investigators try to make that determination.
What time did the dad come home?
I'm not going to release that right now.
But he came into the police department at 7:30 in the morning.
No, he woke up and discovered that they we're not there. The father was there, woke up this morning and determined that his daughter and the girlfriend were not
And he
there.
went to the police department at 7:30.
I think 7:30 this morning, which is not unusual in Harahan. I mean, let's face it, most places you'd call 911, but Harahan's such a small community. They have a lot of walk-ins, which is not unusual for that. So he went to Harahan Police Department, which is of course just a couple blocks away, to do the report.
Were there any other previous reports of abuse in the home?
I'm not going to release that yet. I'm going to let them look into it. The suspect's got 3 different names. I'll let them go through all of those situations before we release it.
And I know that there was a van taken from the home on Donnellan as part of this investigation, then it returned. Do you know anything about that?
I don't.
With first-degree murder, it's premeditated, so...
No.
was there-
First-degree murder is not necessarily premeditated. First-degree murder is because the child was under the age of 12.
Was there any indication that this was pre-planned?
I don't know that yet, but I mean, it's the age of the victim which kicks in the first-degree murder, not the premeditation.
And you said that the other child is in the custody of the mother?
I don't. I wouldn't say custody. I mean, the fact of it is the parents we don't believe are involved. I'll let them figure out who's going to have the child. That's not a JPSO decision. All right, y'all. Thank y'all very much.
All right, a gut-wrenching story in Jefferson Parish. Just to recap, the 6-year-old child who was found deceased is identified as Bella Fontenelle. She does go to a school. That school is closed the rest of the week. Police believe they have the suspect in custody. She's identified as Hannah Landon. She also goes by Bunak Lim. She is a 43-year-old female. She is at the hospital and in JPSO custody. We'll have much more on this breaking, developing story with Morgan Lentis, who is live at that press conference, coming up in just a few minutes. Gina.
All right, and at 5:15, we hear from a neighbor who lives in the area where the child was found, and we'll have more on that, as you mentioned, in just a few minutes. Other news developing today: one teen dead, another was hurt. It all comes after an ATV crash happened in Slidell last night. WDSU reporter Ariel Broomfield live at the St. Tammany Sheriff's Office with what she's learned about that crash and how the community is coping. Ariel.
Well, Gina, there has been an outpouring of community support for the families of those 2 young girls. I talked to a neighbor earlier today who tells me this tragic loss happened so very fast. From fun to fatal.
The street is a straight street up until about the time, and then takes an abrupt turn to the left. It seems as though they could not negotiate the turn, and they didn't realize it until too late.
In a matter of seconds, an ATV ride turned deadly for a 14-year-old girl and left another 14-year-old severely injured.
Young lady driving the four-wheeler hit the tree. The other one was ejected. The one that hit the tree never regained consciousness.
Mark Bonice walked me through exactly what unfolded at his home on LaFleur Drive Tuesday, shortly after 6 p.m. His yard left with markings and debris from St. Tammany Parish investigators maps out the moments that led up to the death of his neighbor, who lives just up the road, 14-year-old Samaya Rogers.
They weren't using any kind of helmets.
Investigators say 8th grade Slidell Junior High School student Samaya Rogers and another 14-year-old girl were riding an ATV and crashed into a tree. Both girls were thrown off the ATV. Bonice says Rogers never regained consciousness.
They did mechanical CPR with the machine. They tried to administer epinephrine, and when she never responded.
There's no greater tragedy than a child that dies before their parent. And this is that kind of tragedy. My heart goes out to this family. I know they're devastated. I know they're grieving.
The second teen sustaining injuries to her face, leg, and other parts of her body. ATV safety, a hot topic for many. Bonice says they need to be used in the correct capacity.
This is not a toy, and mostly these ATV vehicles are off-road vehicles and not really supposedly used to go up and down the road at any high speed, or when I say high speed, they could just have been going 20 or 30 miles an hour. It doesn't take much.
And Bonice, the coroner's office and the sheriff's office here in St. Tammany Parish says they are offering their thoughts and prayers to both of those girls, families, and friends. Reporting here in Slidell, I'm Ariel Brumfield, WDSU News.
Ariel.